Welcome back to Money Mechanics. Let us make your money work harder than you do. Charlie Munger said the first 100 grand is the hardest money you'll ever make. He wasn't being poetic. He was describing the math. I'm Sterling, and I want to show you the exact arithmetic hiding inside that one sentence and why almost everyone quits right before it finally pays off. Here's what Munger actually said, recounted by his biographer Janet Lowe in the book Damn Right. A young shareholder asked him how to begin, and Munger told him the first 100,000 is a bitch, but you've got to do it. Walk everywhere if you have to. Don't eat anything that wasn't bought with a coupon. Just get your hands on $100,000. After that, he said, you can ease off the gas a little. That last line is the whole secret, and the math is about to explain why. And notice he didn't say it's the slowest 100,000, he said it's the hardest. He was telling you exactly where the pain lives, and exactly when it ends. The first 100 grand isn't hard because the number is big. It's hard because for years the math gives you almost nothing back, and you have to keep going anyway. Say you've saved $5,000 and invested it at 8%, in a whole year that money earns you $400. 400. That's one nice dinner. It doesn't feel like a snowball, it feels like a single snowflake. Now, picture someone with 100,000 at the same 8%. They earn $8,000 that year without lifting a feather. Same percentage. 20 times the dollars. Early on, the market is a junior partner and your paycheck is doing the heavy lifting. On a small balance, the return is a rounding error. Your own contribution is the entire story. And that's the cruel part. You pour money in, the balance barely moves, and a quiet voice asks, is this even working? It's silence, not a market crash, is where most people lose. When progress feels invisible, your brain goes hunting for a fix, and it always grabs the wrong lever, the return. If I could just find the right stock, you think, I'd finally feel like I'm moving. But, watch the math. On a $10,000 balance, 3 extra points of return, going from 7 to 10%, earns you about $300 more in a year. Saving an extra $100 a month adds $1,200 a year. 4 times the impact from the lever you fully control. Over a decade it compounds. Saving 15% of a $60,000 salary at 7% grows to about $124,000. Saving only 5%, even at a fantasy 12% return, reaches just $53,000. Less than half. Doubling your return is a fantasy you don't control. Doubling your savings rate is a decision you make on payday. The return feels like being smart. Saving feels like being disciplined. One lets you feel clever for an afternoon. The other quietly builds the 100 grand. Let me make this undeniable with one model. Picture 3 people. Same salary, same market, same 30 years. The only thing different is how much they save. All 3 earn $100,000 a year, get normal 3% raises, and earn the same 7% return. The one who saves 0% ends with basically nothing. About $1,700. The one who saves 5% ends with around $650,000. And the one who saves 10% ends with about $1.3 million. Same income. Same return. Double the savings rate, and you double the entire life. $1,700 versus $1.3 million, and the market treated all 3 of them identically. Their behavior didn't. Now, the people who try to skip this grind usually try to outtrade it. They want to be the genius who beats the market. So let me close that door gently. According to S&P's own scorecard, over the last 15 years, 89.5% of professional large-cap fund managers failed to beat a simple index fund. Over 10 years, 84% failed. Fewer than 1 in 6 pros beat the boring index, net of fees. If they can't do it with teams and terminals, stock picking isn't your shortcut to 100 grand. It's an ego story. What exactly do you think you're going to pull off on your lunch break that 9 in 10 professionals couldn't? The real engine is almost insultingly simple. The S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% a year over the long run, about 6.5% to 7% after inflation. It lived through crashes, wars, and panics, and still compounded for anyone who simply refused to sell. That's the defensible number, not the lottery. and it only works if you stay in your seat for decades. But there's one lever even bigger than your savings rate, and nobody wants to hear it. You can only save what you don't spend. So the gap between what you earn and what you spend is the whole game. Right now, the average American saves about 3% of their income, well under the long-run average of around 8%. When that gap is that thin, no amount of coupon clipping is going to pull a rabbit out of the hat. The fastest path to the first 100 grand is to widen the gap from the top. Raise your income, build the side thing, get the skill that pays more. And then the hard part, don't let your lifestyle eat the raise. Every upgrade you treat as permanent quietly raises the bar you have to clear forever. The person who earns more and lives the same is the person who wins. Every extra dollar you don't spend goes straight into that gap, and the gap is the accelerator. And here's the trick that makes the gap actually hold: automate it. So saving stops being a daily decision you can talk yourself out of. The day your paycheck lands, the money moves itself to savings first, before your brain ever files it as spendable. Willpower is a terrible savings plan. One standing transfer set up once quietly beats motivation every single month. Then make the invisible progress visible. Track your net worth on one simple line. Just once a month. Because that flat, demoralizing stretch only breaks the people who can't see the number moving. Watch it climb, even slowly, and you stop quitting right before the part where it finally pays. Now the cruelest moment of all, and why it's secretly the most important. The famous compounding curve, the hockey stick, is almost flat at the start. For years it barely bends. The math guarantees that flat stretch. $400 on $5,000, remember. The early years feel like all push and no glide. And right at that demoralizing flat part is exactly where most people quit. They look at the slow line and decide it doesn't work. But the slow start isn't the curve failing. The slow start is the curve. Quit there and you forfeit the entire snowball. Here's when it finally turns. The market starts adding more than you do once your balance passes your yearly contribution divided by your return rate. Put in $10,000 a year at 7% and that crossover lands around $143,000. Treat it as a rule of thumb, not a promise. And by the time you reach 100 grand, your money already earns about $7,000 a year on its own, almost matching what you add by hand. That's when it stops being mostly you, and starts being mostly itself. That's the secret, Munger, packed into one sentence. The first 100 grand is the hardest, because you do the lifting alone. No momentum, no applause, no proof. After it, the money becomes the engine. The people who failed at investing mostly didn't fail, they quit during the flat part, the night before the sunrise. So get your hands on the first 100 grand, survive the dark, and then, like the man said, ease off the gas. I'm Sterling, subscribe, and I'll see you at the inflection point. And that is how the money really works. If this helped, subscribe to Money Mechanics. Your future self will thank you.